what you're saying is that a Western concept of law and order is really quite irrelevant.
Irrelevant in this context. A revolutionary, legality.
In Ethiopia, time and again, leaders have risen from virtual obscurity to shape the nation. Mengistu, Meles, and even Abiy were once unknown, yet they ascended to power, mastering whatever tools served them best: ideology, ethnicity, secrecy. Beyond them, there are individuals who work behind the scenes, shadowy figures operating within every regime, leaving a profound impact. These people did not disappear when regimes changed. They returned under new titles, new uniforms, and new narratives, as if they had no past. Abiy is a clear example, a man who spent nearly 20 years within the TPLF security structure, working as an intelligence officer, involved in surveillance, imprisonment, and violence, later presented to the nation as a fresh reformer with no connection to the old order.
5 northern provinces, regions of Ethiopia, namely Gojam, Begemder, Tigray, Wollo, and Eritrea.
Zegeye Asfaw's story is not just about one man. Many recurring figures follow a familiar pattern. They serve one regime, only to reappear in the next with new titles, roles, and rhetoric, continuing to advance policies and actions that target the Amhara people. Zegeye first served as a minister under the Durg communist regime. When the TPLF toppled the Durg, he resurfaced as a minister representing the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, an organisation implicated in mass killings and widespread violence. Today, he serves on Abiy Ahmed's National Dialogue and Reconciliation Commission, where he plays a key role in shaping agendas that could fundamentally transform Ethiopia. In 1974, Haile Selassie's government was overthrown by the Durg, a communist military junta. A majority of the key players in the Durg were ethnic Oromos. Zegeye Asfaw assumed an influential role within this new government. In an interview with foreign journalists during the Durg era, he was asked about extrajudicial killings and mass arrests. His response was unapologetic. Ethiopia does not operate according to Western standards of justice. Extrajudicial killings, imprisonment, and torture, he asserted, were legitimate tools of the revolution.
Outside, hearing about what's happening in the country, knowing that there are a lot of struggles and battles, say that there's no law and order to the revolution. What's your reaction to that?
Law and order, if you take it, in the traditional terms, particularly in the Western sense, doing what the peasants want to be done might be, in contravention to law and order. But what we intend to introduce is a revolutionary, legality, not the Western concept of law and order. Sending cops all over the country to really, punish the peasants for doing what they are doing. What we intend to introduce is really revolutionary legality in this country.
You speak as if there is still a bureaucracy and a police who are, in a sense, holding up the development of the revolution.
Definitely. Of course, in a socialist context, the first thing to be tackled is to really, junk all the previous, penal provisions, which used to really punish people who stood strong in defense of their rights. We can't really go that way at this particular moment. Everything which goes against the interest of the peasantry, against the mass, has to be junked.
What you're saying is that a Western concept of law and order is really quite irrelevant.
Irrelevant in this context.
This defence, and the regime's formal sanctioning of such actions, helped set the stage for 17 years of bloodshed and the near-total annihilation of the Amhara intelligentsia. He argues that law is irrelevant and only revolutionary legality should apply. Within this framework, anyone labelled an enemy could be stripped of their rights, forcibly detained, and executed without trial. the mechanisms of justice, trials, hearings, and due process are entirely abandoned. History has documented the devastating impact of those decisions. Tens of thousands were killed without trial, Ethiopia scarred and still unable to recover.
Elements of the bureaucracy were actively involved. We have been able to stand this action through the United Nations.
On another occasion, speaking at a press conference with foreign journalists, he announced the formation of a militia, backed by legislation, to go after feudals. At the time, terms like feudal, reactionary, and EPRP were political code words to target Amharas.
The People's Militia, which was a direct outcome of the people's struggle, of the struggle of the peasantry against feudal landlords, has been legalized.
Historic responsibility that the United Nations has taken upon itself with regard to this.
La recommandation de ces organisations. C'est là, je pense.
After intense defamation, lies, and anti-Amhara and anti-Orthodox propaganda, the Durg and Oromo political elites, who were the key decision-makers, finally acted. On November 23, 1974, 60 senior officials were executed without trial, including 2 former prime ministers, high-ranking military officers, and public servants. His Imperial Majesty was murdered as well. Children and grandchildren of Haile Selassie's imperial family were imprisoned for decades. Ethiopian Orthodox Church Patriarch was murdered. In a single night, Ethiopia's Amhara intelligentsia, along with other scholars and administrators, was wiped out. This was the second time such an atrocity happening in the 20th century. Mussolini's fascist Italy carried out a similar massacre in February 1937.
ሳረጋግጥ እግዚአብሔር በቸርነቱ ስራችሁን የተቃና እንዲያደርገው ከልብ እመኛለሁ።
Those who opposed the Durg and Mengistu organized under the EPRP. In response, the regime launched the Red Terror, arming vigilantes and creating an environment in which anyone could be labelled an enemy and executed without trial. Tens of thousands were murdered, the majority of them Amharas. During this period, arbitrary killings, torture, and confiscation of property became routine. Being educated, having any connection to royalty, or simply being Amhara outside of Addis Ababa could get you killed, have your job taken, or see your property seized. It was open season. The government granted vigilante groups full legal protection, empowering them to act with impunity. What they called revolutionary justice was, in practice, state-sanctioned terror against Amharas.
17 ዓመታት በኋላ ተቆፍሮ መውጣት የጀመረው አጽም የሁለት ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሮች፣ የ10 መኮንኖች፣ የ18 ጄኔራሎች፣ የ24 ሲቪል ባለስልጣኖችና የአንድ ኮሞዶር በጠቅላላው የ60 ሰዎች አጽም ሲሆን ሌተናንት ጄኔራል በ1969 ዓመተ ምህረት ያለምንም ጥፋት የፊውዳል ወገኖች ናቸው ተብለው ከሚኖሩበት ክልል ታፍነው ለተወሰነ ጊዜ ከታሰሩ በኋላ ያለ ፍርድ በግፍ የተገደሉት እነኚሁ 12 ንጹሃን ዜጎች በተለያዩ የግል የመንግስትና የእርሻ ስራ የሚተዳደሩ እንደነበር ታውቋል።
ባለስልጣኖቹ በግፍ ተረሸኑበት ዕለት በአስከሬናቸው ላይ ጣት ቀለበቶችንና የአንገት የወርቅ ሀብሎችን፣ የእጅ ሰዓቶች፣ በኪሳቸው የነበሩ ንብረቶችንና ገንዘብ ከገፈፏቸው በኋላ አንድ በነጭ ቮልስዋገን ውስጥ የነበረ የደርግ አባል በበነጋታው ተረክቦ እንደወሰደም ተመልክቷል።
A revolutionary legality, not the western concept of law and order, sending cops all over the country.
What you're saying is that a western concept of law and order is really quite irrelevant.
Irrelevant in this context.
Ethiopia's hidden corridors of power, Zegeye Asfaw operates in the shadows. An Oromo political figure largely unknown to the public, he has spent 50 years shaping regimes, from the Durg to Abiy Ahmed, pushing anti-Amhara agendas. Each successive government found new code words to target the Amharas: feudal, EPRP, chauvinist, reactionary, settler, metropolitan elitist, nationalist, bourgeoisie, labels invented to justify persecution. Over the past 50 years, Zegeye's decisions have directly and indirectly targeted the Amhara people across multiple regimes. From the execution of entire Amhara intellectual groups in a single night, to the illegal confiscation of property, dislocations, ethnic cleansing. 3 generations of Amharas have been relentlessly pursued, hunted and killed. Durg, TPLF. And now, the Oromo Prosperity Party regime led by Abiy Ahmed has continued these policies, openly declaring war on the Amhara region and targeting Amharas across Ethiopia. Laws have been manipulated to justify property confiscation and ethnic cleansing. Zegeye later fell out with the Durg and was imprisoned, though he maintained connections to Mengistu. When the TPLF entered Addis Ababa in 1991, he re-emerged as a member of the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, and was appointed minister by Tigray People Liberation Front. In 1992, here he was with OLF chairman on national TV. That following year, the Oromo Liberation Front carried out one of the deadliest massacres in the nation's history, targeting Amhara civilians. Footage of the killings was made public and broadcasted on national television. The OLF was eventually expelled from the transitional government.
The atrocity was indeed committed, and it was carried out by members of our own organization. For any actions taken by our members, we are directly or indirectly accountable.
Zegeye then changed his approach, becoming less visible in politics and running NGOs called Hunda in the Oromia region. When Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018, Zegeye resurfaced as part of the National Dialogue and Reconciliation Commission, playing key role behind the scene to set agendas. The current government under Abiy Ahmed, dominated exclusively by Oromos, is widely perceived as advancing an ultra-Oromo nationalist agenda, effectively marginalising nearly 70% of Ethiopians. The National Dialogue and Reconciliation Commission, created and funded by the Abiy administration and overseen by Zegeye, serves 2 key purposes. First, the Commission creates the appearance of public participation for international donors, giving the impression of a democratic process. Second, by presenting its agendas as if they originate from citizens, it aims to fundamentally reshape Ethiopia, from the flag and calendar to land boundaries and governance structures. The plan effectively seeks to erase Ethiopia's Semitic heritage and replace it with an Oromo-centred identity. Major cities, including Addis Ababa, Harar and Moyal, would fall under Oromia's jurisdiction. Amharas and Tigrayans, who constitute a core part of Ethiopia's identity, are not participating in the process. Ethiopia's royal treasures, ancestral heirlooms, sacred gifts, crowns, manuscripts and priceless artifacts were meticulously catalogued and safeguarded within the palace. These are living fragments of a nation's soul, memory and identity. Then Abiy came to power. Since that moment, no independent body has been allowed to verify or report on the fate of these priceless royal Ethiopian artifacts. Silence replaced accountability. Mystery replaced transparency. Abiy himself claimed in the parliament 400 kilograms of gold were taken out of palace. There was public outcry about the exact fate of those priceless treasures. And the haunting question lingers in the hearts of many. Was this gold melted down? Turned into money to buy drones? Weapons used to kill Amharas? Nobody knows. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, like, share and subscribe.